The first Hyundai Kona was pretty good, but this new generation one is exceptional. Stay tuned, I'll tell you all about it in this review. G'day, I'm Matt. This channel's called The Right Car, and this could be the right small SUV for you if you are looking for something that's high-tech, well-packaged, and has a bunch of different powertrain options available. Now, I'm only driving the petrol models in this review. I will hopefully be able to do a hybrid and an EV review later on, so stay tuned. There's a lot more Kona content coming. Let's get to it. The new generation Kona range is more expensive than the last generation model, but it is more high-tech, it's bigger, and well, the market's moved up quite a bit in that time as well. So it does have a higher starting price, and there's two different models available at launch. The entry-level version is just called Kona, and then there's the Kona Premium, which adds a few extras over it. This is a pretty big model range these days, so there's three different powertrains available at launch. The entry-level version is a 2-litre front-wheel drive with CVT, petrol. The next step up from there is a hybrid model, which hasn't arrived yet, so I'm not driving it in this review. Stay tuned, I will do a review of it later on. And then up from there is the turbocharged all-wheel drive model, which is exclusively available with the N-Line package. Now you can get that N-Line styling package on other models in the lineup as well. Now, here's a rundown on what you get as standard on both different models. Standard gear is generous in all grades, including 18-inch alloy wheels, LED exterior lighting, a 12.3-inch media screen with smartphone mirroring, and digital radio. There's dual zone climate control, there's a smart key and push button start, and a host of standard safety equipment. Step up from there to the premium model and you score sat-nav with live traffic updates, a fully digital dashboard display, power tailgate or electric boot, a Bose 8-speaker stereo system, heated and cooled front seats, a heated steering wheel, heated rear seats, then better LED lighting on the outside, and a few other safety items as well. When it comes to the rivals to the Hyundai Kona, there are a few really good alternatives out there. One of them is the Kia Seltos. Shares a lot with this car, a couple of powertrains and some tech as well, but it does have a few annoying elements, just like this car. I'll tell you about them in the driving section, and it is a bit more practical. So if you need practicality and you are on a more, maybe tighter budget, then maybe it could be a better option for you. It comes with 7 years of warranty as well. Another really good option I think you should be looking at is the Toyota Corolla Cross. It comes with hybrid as well and petrol. Hit the link up there and you can check out my review of that car. I reckon it's fantastic, well packaged and high tech. So check it out. If you can get one, it could be a really good option. Another really good small SUV that you might want to consider is the Nissan Qashqai. Check out my review, hit the link up there and see why I think it's one of the best in the segment for a bunch of different reasons. And I reckon it's also got a nice perky turbo engine. Plus there's an e-power hybrid alternative model coming very soon too. Hopefully I'll be able to do a review of that one, so stay tuned. It might come next year though. The new Kona is bigger in every direction, so it's taller, it's longer, and it's wider, and it's also got more space on the inside. I'm going to show you that in the next section of this video, but just tell me what you think in the comment section about the styling of this car. I'm not sure that I'm a huge fan of all of it. I like some elements. I'm not so hot on this N-Line package. This dual spoiler's a little bit too boy racer for my liking, but tell me what you reckon. And now, let's check out the boot. When it comes to boot space, this one is the top spec one, so it gets an electric tailgate. That is a pretty convenient feature if you're a parent and you've always got your hands full. Now, boot space is a lot bigger than the last generation Kona. You see the figure on your screen now, and as you can see just with your eyes, it is a lot larger. There's a lot more practicality available to you. You can fit a pram in here. I haven't got a pram with me to show you, but trust me, you can, and some extra luggage as well. Underneath the boot floor, which is a dual layer floor setup, so you can actually lower it down if you want even more boot space. But underneath there's a space saver spare wheel as well, which is nice to see. Yeah, practical, tick in the box. The interior of the Kona is a massive step forward for this new generation model. It looks and feels so much more modern than the last one. Like, the old one wasn't too bad, but this one really ups the ante when it comes to interior finishes and the design. I actually really love this twin screen layout. Look, this one's the top spec one, so you get twin full digital displays. The entry level one has a sort of part digital display instead of this array, I guess you'd say. And it is a lot more I guess, colourful and interactive looking than the last generation model in terms of the displays themselves. You've got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well, which is nice to see. There's sat-nav in this grade as well, and connected services. So basically it'll tell you if there's traffic on the route or whatever, and that's nice to see. So when it comes to the controls, love the fact that there's still buttons and dials down below the screen here. You've got temperature controls, which are little levers, which is nice to see as well. It just makes it so much easier than having to go through the screen to do everything. Now, let's talk about some of the other elements to this cabin. If you buy this top spec model, you'll find your heating and cooling buttons for the seats down here. So again, you don't have to go through the screen to do it. I like that. There's a drive mode selector down here as well. Wireless phone charging, and between the seats is a very nice storage cubby with retractable cup holders, and you can also take this little part out if you want to have a bit more space for maybe a laptop or a handbag or something like that. Underneath here, there's a little storage thing as well, where you could maybe hide some lollies or something like that. And you've got bottle holders in the doors too. The seat comfort is really good. So is the steering wheel. It's a really nice design. I like that it's got a sort of jagged edge, not too sharp though, down the bottom of the steering wheel. It just looks a little bit more sporty than the last generation model. I also really like that there's a shelf here on the dash too to store, well, you could put your wallet or your phone there if you're the passenger. All right, let's check out the back seat. Just before we jump into the back seat of the high spec model, I just want to show you some of the features of the entry-level version. Some things that I do like and some things that I don't. One thing I don't like, it doesn't have an auto-dimming rear vision mirror, which seems a bit down market. It has a different shifter design, which takes up a bit more space. And as a result, you don't have the clever retractable cup holders. Instead, they're these strange sort of weird shaped ones, and no removable section there either. And the armrests on the doors, hard, scratchy plastic and not very comfortable on your elbows. Also, the armrest in the center console isn't very soft, even though it does have a soft cover on it. Still, not very pleasant on your elbows. Finally, you don't get the Hyundai badge on the steering wheel, which is a bit strange. You get 4 dots, which is Morse code for H, and you do get a H badge on the key. Just not sure how I feel about the design of that. All right, let's check out the back seat. Let's talk about backseat space. This is a much bigger car this time around. So as you can see, I've got quite a bit of room behind my own driving position. In case you don't know, I'm 182 centimeters or 6 foot. And yeah, this is a roomy enough cabin for me to sit behind my own driving position. So if you have tall kids or you often ferry around adults, it's going to be pretty practical for your needs. There's a fair bit of footroom, good headroom as well, which is nice to see. And there is a transmission tunnel intrusion into the middle part. So maybe 3 across might not be as comfortable, but it is possible. Now you've got directional air vents down here as well, a couple of USB chargers. As I mentioned in the spec section, in this top spec model, you get heated outboard seats as well. If you want to activate them, there's a little button on the door. Nice. When it comes to storage, there's a couple of net mat pockets, and I love the fact that Hyundai has these hard seat backs, which means that if you have a youngster in a child seat, they can kick away to their heart's content and not actually do any real damage. There's bottle holders in the doors. You've got a flip down armrest with cup holders here as well. It's all very nice, and ISOFIX and top tethers as well. So this is going to be a practical family car option if that's what you're looking for. I know it's already a little bit confusing in terms of the powertrain options available to you, but let me run through them in a bit more detail. So the entry-level model is a 2-litre front-wheel drive model with a CVT automatic transmission. You'll see the outputs on your screen now. That is pretty good for the class, but not necessarily setting any new benchmarks. The step up from there is into the hybrid version, or HEV as Hyundai calls it. It comes with a 1.6 litre petrol engine, an electric motor and a battery pack, which all work together to offer you a little bit more grunt than the entry-level version, and obviously better fuel economy. I'll get to that later on. And at the top of the engine range is this one here, the 1.6 litre 4-cylinder turbo petrol. It has heaps of power and torque, and in fact it's one of the gruntiest small SUVs at this price point on the market. Comes with an 8-speed automatic transmission and all-wheel drive as standard as well. So if that matters to you, this could be the right one. This new generation Hyundai Kona is, well, vastly better than the first one in terms of the drive experience. It is more mature, more refined, more serene, more comfortable, and just more likable than the first one. Look, I spent a lot of time in that first generation model. I had a long-termer for Cars Guide years ago, and I thought it was good. But this one really changes things for the Kona nameplate in terms of the drive experience. So obviously a lot of it comes down to, well, the powertrains on offer. As I mentioned, this review is only on the petrol models. Hopefully I'll be able to do a review on the hybrid and EV versions later on, but the 2-litre MPI with the CVT automatic is a really nice powertrain. I actually reckon it's the best powertrain of the bunch if you are just going to buy a car like this to do what cars like this are made to do, which is just run around town, maybe the odd country road trip like I'm doing today. But yeah, it's a really nice engine, a really well sorted CVT automatic transmission. And yeah, it's front wheel drive, and if you're not okay with that, then there is the all-wheel drive version with the turbo engine, but you just have to spend so much more to get it, so it might not make sense for you. I have driven that turbo version, and it is a fair bit zestier than this powertrain, and I would say if you do consider yourself any kind of enthusiast, then maybe it might be a nice fit for you. But like I said, it's a pretty big step up when it comes to the money, and you have to have it with the N-Line package, and that design look might not be to all tastes. So that's that 2-litre engine doing its best. Like I mentioned, it's not a speed machine, don't expect it to be, and you won't be disappointed. The 1.6 turbo, however, is a lot more punchy and zesty and really willing if that's what you're looking for. And it has a fantastic 8-speed automatic transmission that really feels like it knows what it's doing a lot of the time, and also has really super snappy gear shifts, which is nice. The steering is also really pretty well sorted when it comes to directness, so it is very much a point and shoot kind of game, especially on center, although I have found that in corners it can be just a little bit understeery. Now that might be getting a bit too car enthusiast talk for you, but what it means that it feels like the nose of the car isn't necessarily going to turn as quickly as you might want it to, and a lot of that probably comes down to the tires, which I reckon aren't the best, but they're fine. I think the ride is pretty well sorted. I'm just driving through a little country town now, and it feels like it's nicely resolved for the most part. Yes, you can feel some of the bumpiness in the road surface if you find a really rough patch of road, but I don't think it's necessarily too bad. The speed sign system in this car is the most annoying thing about it. It will beep at you when the speed sign changes. So if you're in a 40 zone and it goes to 60 or 50 or something like that, it'll beep. And it'll do it every single time you pass a different speed limit signpost. And sometimes even when you don't pass a signpost with a speed limit on it. Just then it decided that I was in a 45 zone, which don't even exist in New South Wales. Now it's telling me that I'm going a couple of kilometers over the signposted speed limit, and it'll do that every time you speed over the limit as well. Yeah, I hated this system in the Seltos. I hated it in the Palisade, and I hate it in this car. To me, the Hyundai group really needs to figure this out, because people are telling me that they've decided they're selling their car, their brand new pride and joy, because of this system. It's a pain in the ass. All in all, I do think that this is a much better car than the last generation model, although that technology, that safety system with the speed sign thing really isn't good. Let's talk about efficiency. So, like I mentioned, there's 3 different powertrains available for the standard Kona range. Let's talk about the most efficient one first, even though it's not the one I'm driving today. The HEV, or hybrid, it'll use a claimed 3.9 litres per 100 kilometres across a mix of driving. Obviously, I can't tell you whether that's realistic or not, but stay tuned. Once I do get my hands on a hybrid Kona, I will give you the honest facts about whether it lives up to that claim. Next up is that 2-litre front-wheel drive model, the one I'm driving right now. You can see the figure on screen for the official combined cycle figure. That's what you should be able to achieve across a mix of driving. And on screen now, you'll see what I saw across a mix of driving. This isn't the normal driving that I do, but it might give you an idea of what you could achieve if you do a lot of country driving, for instance. And then There's the 1.6 turbo model, which it's the performance hero of the range, so it does have a slightly higher fuel consumption figure. You'll see it on your screen. And now I'm going to show you what I achieved across relatively enthusiastic drive in that car. There it is there. I was okay with that. I thought that was pretty good compared to the Seltos I drove with the same powertrain, and I saw 9.6 litres per 100 Ks across my regular driving. So that might be a better indicator of what you will actually see. At the time I'm filming this, there is no ANCAP safety rating for the Hyundai Kona, but it does come with heaps of standard safety technology included on all grades, including autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian detection, cyclist detection, junction detection, and a new thing called two-wheeler assistance, which will basically keep an eye out for motorcycles and brake for you if it sees one and it doesn't think you're going to, which is really nice to see. There's also lane keeping assistance, there's blind spot monitoring, and rear cross traffic alert as well. It's also got rear cross traffic alert braking, and if you choose the top spec version, you step up from a reversing camera to a surround view camera. All grades come with front and rear sensors though, and you also get a nice little bit of technology called blind spot view monitor. So it's a little camera feed that comes up on the driver info screen and it'll show you what's in your blind spot. And when it comes to airbag coverage, there's 7 fitted to the Kona, including dual front side, a front center airbag to stop head impacts in side collisions, and curtain airbags as well. Safe. Hyundai offers a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty in Australia, and that applies to the Kona as well. Now, I'll tell you more about the battery warranty for the electric version when I drive that car, but you'll see the hybrid battery warranty on your screen now. And if you're wondering about servicing costs, keep this in mind that if you choose the turbo version, the servicing is every 12 months or 10,000 Ks. If you choose the non-turbo versions, including the hybrid, it's every 15,000 Ks. The service pricing on your screen now. Tell me what you think in the comments. Is that any good or not? And also, if you are wondering, you can get prepaid cap price service plans. So you can either prepay for 3, 4 or 5 years, or you can have cap price servicing for the life of the car if you just pay as you go. Now, the other thing you need to know, if you do decide to always service your car with Hyundai, you'll get lifetime roadside assistance, which is nice. So has this new generation Hyundai Kona shot right up the shopping list to be on top? Well, it is very, very impressive. I might have to reserve my judgment until I get to drive the hybrid versions, which could be a game changer for this segment, as well as that EV model, if it's not too expensive. Stay tuned for those reviews coming soon. And if you haven't already, please do hit like and subscribe, join the community. And if you have, thank you. I love you. I'll see you soon.